Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio Tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in. Why? Because we're going to have some fun here. And why not? We have Simona Tahiliani here. She is from the Czech Republic. She's a storyteller. She's a scientist. But she is not an experiencer or researcher of UFOs. But she's got one great story to tell about an amazing UFO encounter back home in the Czech Republic. We're going to get to her momentarily. But first, we have to say hello to each and every one of you. We have Race Fan in the gold medal position, Kitty Caddywhack with a silver, and Eternity Eternal with a bronze medal tonight. Scrolling on down, we have Road Flare. How you doing? Frankie B, Necessary Dialogue. Thank you for joining us. Mel WD40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show about UFOs nice and smooth. That's why you need the lube. Lee the Bee, how are you? Good to see you here. Cosmic Joe, Ethanol, Michael Morris, the attorney at large. How are you? T-Bone, my man. Thanks for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Who's next on our list? Deanna Ann is here. Deanna Ann will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Number 22 in your program tonight, starting at center ice from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jonsson. There he is. Okay, continuing on, we have Thomas Rock, Robert Lamoth, lovely Mevire is here. Mevire will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Extra small Lee Strauss, nice to see you in the studio. Melissa Nicole, Panda on Fire, Fast Hemi, nice to have you all in the chat room tonight. Algaray over on Twitch, he did 500 pull-ups in 17 minutes. His arms are tired but jacked. Large shoulders tonight. Nina Williams, how are you? And John Jackson, thanks for coming on in. Paul Demon, Kaz, good to have you both here. Phineas over on X, thank you for joining us. J Truth Seeker, good to see you. Flubber Lane, Cool Arrow, Jennifer Beveridge, thank you all for joining us. Hi there, I'm Hardcore over on X. Scrolling on down, we have Pam Harris. Thank you for coming on in. What in tarnation? How are you tonight? As we continue on with our roll call, Dragonfly, nice to see you. And Les Paul Holland strumming away on his guitars right as we speak in Australia. Paul, let me know if I'm alive tomorrow, if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. Good morning, Major Lee in the UK. Kurt W75, Jerry Carter. And who's next on our list? Scrolling on down, let's say hello next to, let's see here. Oh, we're caught up. I went way too fast on that. Way too fast. We're about a minute away from our launch tonight. And you know what? I'm going to turn that down, put these on, because I just think it's going to make a little bit more sense. Mevire will be in her cave signing autographs. In her cave. Yeah. So make sure you hook up with her. Cielo, how are you? Karen in the Woo Train, good to see you. Marty Burback, Carbone 239, welcome to SOR Chat. Here we go with the radio side. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in wherever you are on this planet. We got Simona Tahiliani here, going to tell us about an amazing UFO encounter in Moravia in the Czech Republic. Yeah, Richard Minnick, thank you for joining us as we continue on with our roll call on YouTube. Just to warm us on up, as we're about 30 seconds away from launch. And I think we're caught up. Don't forget, if you're on the YouTube side, the Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out for yourself. Do me a favor, everybody. Hi, Greg Maloney in Thailand. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out the Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We're going to have an amazing show for you tonight. We're going to get into a UFO incident in the Czech Republic. Simona Tahiliani is here to talk about this. We'll bring her on momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off with another great story. Follow that up. Extra small Lee Strauss will be here for the cryptid and UFO Q&A. All right. I'm excited about tonight's guest because Simona Tahiliani is a community-oriented author, Goodwill Ambassador, and Regional Director for the San Jose U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights chapter. Holding an MBA from California State University and a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology from San Francisco State University, she is a dedicated advocate for education, human rights, and humanitarian efforts. Her extensive volunteer work with the organizations like the American Red Cross, Experimental College of San Francisco, Sokol, and USIDHR reflects her commitment to social impact. In recognition of her contribution, she was awarded an honorary doctorate in Humanities and Leadership in 2024. Simona, also known as Simeta, uses her literary works to inspire change and cultural awareness. Her publications include Simeta, The Story Tale of Moravia, a compelling narrative intertwining Moravian culture, history, and a long-concealed UFO encounter. Oh, this is going to be exquisite tonight. Simona Tahiliani, all the way from the Czech Republic. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you. Hello, listeners. I'm Simona Tahiliani. As was introduced myself, some people know me as Simeta, and I am on the journey to help through the storytelling, educate, and inspire others. And I have decided to share my story of encounter with unknown flying object. And actually, this not only me, but also others testified in a short story, Simeta, the storyteller from Moravia, about their personal encounter with this unknown, unexplained flying object. And if I can tell, this book actually is supposed to never be written, and I do not want to even reveal this story. But after 20 years, I went through a very difficult, life-changing situation where if I leave this world, I have decided I cannot take this story with me, and I have decided to writing short story. It's Simeta, the storyteller from Moravia, which is a very short book. It's about around 100 pages, and it's contain a few. Actually, it's 6 chapters. And the first chapter introduced Czechoslovakia, the place where I am come from. The chapter 2, it's a person who inspired Jan Amos Comenius, that was a philosopher, teacher, and also very inspired person. Božena Němcová, which is a woman, powerful feminist, which followed the true and what she believed. And the chapter 4, actually the starting testimony from the various people that observed this flying object. And there are few testimony, and all these people testify what they see themselves, and I'm very thankful to them. And the chapter 6, it's actually chapter where I was cooperating with Professor Jim Hatter, Professor Emeritus from the university, who working on a blue book and also testify for the Congress about the UFO. And there is story chapter 5. It's Simeta and John, which introduced a little bit story, how they work about the disclosure. And the chapter 6 is a letter. It's a letter from President of the Czech Republic, which actually writing that it's true. And it's very interesting. It's probably shocking for some people, and will be shocking. And then it's like the message of the books. It's not only about the disclosure, but it's message from Simeta to the people to keep the water drinkable, food eatable, and clean planet for the future generation. And if you go through those chapters, you will find out also the key for disclosure.
You are a writer, you are a researcher, you are not an experiencer, you're not somebody who is delving too deep into the UFO story. Why is it important for you to write about it and tell the story of Moravia?
The important was things that where I teach on the university, San Francisco State University, on exco classes, and I have the opportunity to have discussion with various students, and they told me, each student has some kind of story to tell, and each story is inspiration and can inspire someone who is searching and looking for true or for possibility or something who can hold on, something what is special or can inspire the person. And I was holding the story for 20 years. I have beautiful letters from President, which says, let me move a little bit here because I have it over here. I put okay, Office of the President of the Czech Republic, their name. I was asked by the President to express sincere thanks to you for most interesting letter and articles. The existence of any being coming from the universe has been drawing attention of mankind from time immemorial. The President is therefore pleased that it was you, Miss Tarada, who succeeded in establishing the first contact with potential extraterrestrial quest, and so on. And also I have signing here from wonderful people like live long and prosper. It's Hollywood. Keep watching Sky, Sexostak, at Astra, or for various scientists. I have this kind of letter which is hidden in my depository. And it's inspiration to me that I have hope that if the time is tough, there is something up there which I can connect to or thinking about, and that they are not only good and bad things, because as a Goodwill Ambassador, I saw lots of bad things happen to the good people, children, and everywhere around the world. And there is always some kind of hope that up there, even though that sometimes you're feeling completely lost. And where I went through the very difficult times, where I was, thinking maybe this might be that's it. I said I cannot go. I need to write my story. Yeah, and inspire seeker. Yeah.
What is the attitude of people in Czech Republic when it comes to UFOs? Do they believe?
Uh, it depends. There are people who are actually like artists, poets, people who like writing, storytelling. They believe, and they have fun about it. In this kind of fun way to playful way. But I must tell they transferring the ideas to the art. I saw last week that in Brno they are making small little aliens art and like walking around the observatory and looks so cute, like the little small aliens like walking around and everyone is fun, taking like fun. But it's form of education. I mean, we are not alone. There's something up there, and we may be open to it accept that and educate about it because as regional director for the United States Institute of Democracy and Human Rights, I try to educate children about the needs to learn about the human rights, how important is writing, how important is to educate girl, and the wisdom and knowledge and understanding and open mind.
Is it a popular subject as it is over here in North America?
At this time, I'm not sure if that is popular because there are lots of wave of the insecurity, economic distress, political distress, war, and various challenges which the society is exposed to. And then before, I am not sure if they have like a feeling to have a fun and researching this kind of topic because people need to secure the family, the living, the work, the price and inflation got tool on it.
Is there a lot of people who have or witness sightings over there?
I believe so. There are people who believe that observe something. There are many of them, but some of those I think can be scientifically explained. And there are people who may have knowledge, skills, and ability to observe or connect with the something. And I'm not sure. Might be in many countries around the world there are certain people who have certain skills and abilities to connect this kind of things, this object, and there are some people who believe they do have those ability and some people who they hope they have those abilities. I mean, it's a very very challenging topic, but it's not about to connect to this object, but it's about to educate the society that we are not alone. The things it's up there, like as educator for the human rights, if I take little drawing for the children, they're open-minded, they drawing nice craft and they says, oh, this is wonderful, and I can try, flowers, and I can drawing the flowers. They easy can imagine the flowers drawing in other celestial bodies or various flying subject and things. They are open to the mind, and how I told you before, that those who cannot change the minds cannot change anything in the world. That was the George Bernard. I mean, if we cannot change our mind, we cannot connect with this kind of things. This is one of the main pillar that we need to change mind to have the ability to connect with this kind of things, what it is. On the friendly side, you don't go to visit your neighbors with gun or with some kind of weaponry or heavy suit and go, hello, I'm here, I'm human, I'm go I'm bringing you some goodies, and the other person or the kind of things can be like looking on you like, oh my goodness, what is this? It's quietly challenge in this kind of interaction.
And what do you believe? What do you think is out there that you are uh, inquiring about regarding this subject?
I believe so that it's some kind of life form. I don't know if it's a life form or what kind of form is that. It's things what may try to connect with the human being, but also the things know where you are prepared for it. I mean, you will be contacted in a moment where you are prepared. If you are not prepared, you will not be contacted, and there are also rules. how to be exposed to this kind of things, how to communicate this kind of things as well. These things keep you safe. You don't need to be afraid. You need to be prepared for this communication, for this disclosure, for this interaction. If you are not prepared, if you have physical ability problems with the disclosure, you will not be able to do so because it's very challenging. Every disclosure requires time, repetition, and every time the object is closer and closer, the body need to prepare for it, adjust to it physically and mentally. And this is not something what take just one turn.
Now, did you always believe in UFOs, or did you take a while to warm up with this?
I have never believed. No, I will never believe there is something up there, because I was growing up in a family of fun family. I have older brother, younger sister, and small animals, and it was my circle of friends, and then school. And then when I grew up, I just like sport and activities and wellness and this kind of things. And this disclosure, the first disclosure actually happened by accident, and then continued disclosure developed through the exposure to this kind of things and to the communication with the group and people and observation, and each step was a little bit different.
Oh, wow. So are you a believer now, or do you think that there's evidence to possibly believe?
People can believe what they want. It's important to have open mind that something is up there, and after they are evolutionally prepared for the disclosure, the communication, it can happen in some kind of spaceship, probably outside of the spaceship or in other celestial body. But the body need to be properly trained, and actually probably the group need to be properly trained. It's like if you send a group of diplomats to the unknown territory, you need to prepare them, you need to train them, and not only physically, they are physically strong, mentally strong, but also they need to have certain skill, possess diplomatic skill, how to communicate this with something. And you cannot communicate with something if you don't know how. The mean observe and learn and collect information and data, like Soul Foundation trying to collect data and information, what we know about the disclosure, what we know about the people, what we know how the people communicate to this kind of things. But the other thing, observe the ability to communicate and what could be classified as a communication and what is classified as just like wanted communication.
Hmm. Are there a lot of scientists looking into it, like there are in North America with groups like the Soul Foundation and the SCU and others that are really trying to take this subject seriously?
Well, I think so. You have also in Canada scientists who like to build extraterrestrial embassy, if I'm not mistaken about that. And lots of scientists are, in to help out and support out. But there are so many things around it to figure out how to build the protocol, the place, the country, which is properly developed technically, but also it's peaceful country.
Well, I'm just wondering, if there's no interest or lack of interest in Czech Republic, then wouldn't that mean that really there's not a lot the government really has to worry about regarding having to look into this subject?
I think Czech government are very professional. They have very well educated scientists, researchers, young people. The scientific community is very well on. But this kind of topic like extraterrestrial observation and communication, I'm not sure it's on a list. On a list might be technology, satellite, physical, and how I can tell, not like empirical things, mostly technical advance and technical development and technical expertise, which may lead the society ahead, not so much looking for life in a universe form of aliens, but maybe microorganisms to the astrobiology or, physical science, which looking for proof of life, proof of possible contamination, Marias and waters and things like that.
We have about 4.5 minutes before we need to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Simona Tahiliani is here from the Czech Republic. We're going to get into this incredible UFO encounter in Moravia in just a little bit here once we get back from the break. But for you, are you starting on a personal level to really enjoy this subject, that there's a lot more to it than what you first thought?
Myself, I am very thankful for the opportunity to meet very smart, knowledgeable, and very open-minded scientists in California. I'm very thankful for that. I met people around METI, SETI. I went on few conferences, and you can find lots of various scientists. Now, next conference will be, I think so, in California in Burlingame, and that will be topic also this extraterrestrial. But I am not involved in research. My activities are more about education and human rights and children and goodwill and supporting peace building activities.
Do you ever hope to have a sighting?
I'm not hope is things what we're wishing for. I am in a present moment, and what's happened and supposed to happen will happen.
That sounds like a true open-minded experiencer.
Thank you.
I think that's great. You're right. If it is supposed to happen, it will happen. Do you think that you can make it happen if you wanted?
If I am prepared, if various peoples are prepared, if the time will be right, everything is possible.
But would you want it to happen?
I was traveling last year to the Europe, and I enjoy conversation with various people from various fields, and where I observe the suffering and the pain which they go through, and compared to be Goodwill Ambassador for people and children, and compare the suffering in Europe and Africa and India and globally. I first want peace, and the rest will come.
Do you think any alien contact would be good for humanity?
The question is, will be humanity prepared and good for them?
That's very philosophical.
Mm-hmm.
Very philosophical. Well, let's see. We got about 90 seconds here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour here. Have you ever thought then about what it would be like with ETs, non-human intelligence, walking around just like you and I?
Everyone have the freedom to speak, to walk, and to observe. We do not own this planet. We do not own celestial planets in the universe. We have the freedom to move. We have the freedom to speak, and we may not be the only species to do so.
No, I understand. I understand that, but it is a sensitive topic for people wondering how they would react. Because personally, I don't think humanity would be ready for such a change.
Before, we need to educate people. There are lots of work to be done, and it's education. It's responsibility of the education system and the country or the globally, the peace builders, the peace ambassador, and educators to prepare young minds for possible communication and possible cohabitation with other life forms. And if not in this planet, on this planet, on the celestial bodies or on various space models.
Simona, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Simona Tahiliani. And when we come back, we are going to learn from Czechia the UFO encounter in Moravia. We will be right back right here on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, we are clear. There we go. Good start. Good start.
Yeah.
Do you prefer Czech Republic or Czechia?
I was born in Czechoslovakia. Now it's Czechia. I'm staying with Czech Republic.
Wow.
Because some people think Czechia is like Russia or some Russian state.
Mm-hmm. When did do most people even care? Do they prefer Czechia?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, this is Czech Republic. Lots of people don't like the Czechia because they think it's like Czechia, Russia, or something like that. It's like something close to it, and they ask me, "Oh, you are Russian, yeah?" And then I says, "No, it's a Czech Republic. It's Slovak Republic, and was Czechoslovakia."
Yes. Yeah, Czechoslovakia changed in what, 1989, 1990?
Yeah, that was after the Velvet Revolution. Yeah.
Yeah. And then became Czech Republic, and that's
Yeah.
when everything went to hell between Bosnia Herzegovina and
Yes.
what was the other country? Serbia.
Serbia. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the massacre, and lots of people die, and that was
Yeah.
horrible. Yeah, I have a friend who moved to the US, and yes, his family got because
Yeah.
there was neighbor against neighbor. It was very bad. Yeah.
Yes. My closest
Yeah.
part ever to Czechia was interviewing Czech Republic hockey players.
Oh, okay. Well, my best friend, her father was hockey player, Mr. Bubnik. Vlastimil Bubnik was the legend of the ice hockey.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the most famous one I interviewed was Jaromir Jagr.
Younger. This is the new generation. That was younger. He's now,
Yeah.
I think, so over 40 something. Yeah,
He's
because
50,
that's
52. Yeah.
yeah, he's not like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Martin Ruchinsky. Who else did I interview from there? He's deceased now, but Pavel Dimitra. I'd have to go through a list. Mm-hmm. We have about 2.5 minutes, okay?
Sure.
All right. I'm having fun. Hi, Paramarv. How are you, buddy? Trebor, nice to see you. Witness protection. Way to throw out a pair of Canadian goaltenders. Dominic Hasek. That's another one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's how I learned how to pronounce all the European names. Was
Thanks.
because
That's good.
yes, hockey and tennis players. All right, we got about just over a minute to go here. Dave Tiger Williams, how you doing? Are the Northern Lights out tonight? I'll have to go out and check at the break. I think they were out the other night after the show. They were very very thin and sparse, but they were out. I'll go out there and check tonight. Hopefully. Usually around this time I get some good pictures. Do you get the Northern Lights there? Simona?
No, well, California can be quietly polluted, that the light and the smoke and, you don't know if you can see something. But if I can get to the Lake Tahoe, it's beautiful and green. You can see all the stars. It's very romantic, And I like the romantic part because I like storytelling. I like, writing.
Hold right there. Hold right there. Here we go. Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We really appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. We have Simona, all the way from Czechia, or the Czech Republic, whatever you choose. Yeah, Simona Tahiliani is here, and she's going to tell us this incredible story about a great UFO incident in Czech Republic, Czechia. Now, this happened a number of years ago. They thought it may have been a satellite falling from Earth, but others say no. Czech Republic's got aliens. They got aliens over there. Simona, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So tell us about this story. Tell us a little history.
Okay, I would like to tell you the history actually starting where I started working with Czech rhythmic gymnastics sport. I did at the time preparedness for the Olympic game Barcelona, and I did like exercise, musical therapy. I was working as nurse and practitioner, and I bring this group of few children outside for relaxation and just little stretching and exercising. And that was late hours, and then something show up, observe the children, and then left. That was the first sighting. And the second sighting was with a group, few people, various people. There was like 10 or 11 of us. And that was first sighting and second sighting and third sighting. And then we have decided to share with person who can writing about that, and just share with public. And let me read from the Simeta book. It's a testimony. It's a chapter 4. And this person is actually writer, and he writing for the newspaper. And it's a 2 article where he was introduced to the group, and the second he saw that. Okay, I put the nickname Peter. It's testimony number 1. The article name is "Who Will Help the Blue Planet?" Apocalypse or the atomic bomb will destroy our blue planet. There are many theories about how our planet will end. Whenever or not, I, Peter, believe such view about the world end is speculative. Each of us is frightened by the end of the era. People are there to support each other, and the day of the final trial will be for everyone. Will someone or something help the aggressive civilization survive, or do we destroy ourselves? But who will support this planet, its final stage of life? Simeta invited me to meet people willing to share an exciting story on Saturday night. I, Peter, met 8 women and men with high school or college degree. They observed and identified flying objects in the sky and were willing to share the experience from unique observation. We talk about the preparedness for the observation of the unknown object and friendly atmosphere. That was the first article he wrote. Well, there are some bunch of people, they believe and see something, and maybe it's, maybe not. But the fun part is, after 2 weeks later, contact with extraterrestrial. 2 weeks ago, I Peter met people who believe they communicate with unknown life forms. We discussed observing the identifying flying object. I Peter, I'm not a complicated person, but a person of skepticism. I Peter do not believe we will receive any help from aliens. I Peter, I think we will injure ourselves if we harm our planet. Simeta called me on the evening on Monday. The lovely, gentle voice asked me if I, Peter, want to see the unknown extraterrestrial object with my own eyes. Yes, I, Peter, was looking for the unknown. We found ourselves with 11 people, a fine group of men and women. We left the city. We had introductory ceremony. I Peter think a ritual was in place. It was freezing weather. There were no clouds. The sky was clear, and we prepared for observation. The mystery of space has attracted people for centuries. We stood within 5 meters to avoid influencing each other. Actually, observation. With interest, I Peter started looking at an object different from other stars. The undefined object moved very, very quickly. The movement represents 2 degrees in seconds. We observed the unknown object for an hour, but I, Peter, felt like few minutes. So I, Peter, take opportunity to put my own experience to the test. Should I, Peter, trust my space friends, your ship will move in 5 seconds 2 degrees downwards, and then it will move left 3 degrees. The object copied my request, and 11 people present also watched the movement as I, Peter, see it. Space is full of secret. To me, this is one of those testimonies. There are a few of more, but I want to show, that was person, writer, skeptic, and, some young girl call him, hey, we think that something is up there, would like to talk about this with us, and we invite him, we talk and share our experience and let him go, and he write very nice, interesting article to the newspaper. That was the first one. And then he was like, okay, maybe something is up there. But the second, after 2 weeks, he was surprised again. He was invited to observe himself. And the purpose of was that, how he will react, how he felt. That was the most important thing. It's not about the article. And also the willingness to share the story publicly, that he testified what he saw.
Now, reports in the U.S. say that they believe it was a satellite that came crashing down. What do you believe, or what do you think the evidence says?
At this point, it was a long time ago, and it was not something what will be crashing down to the ground. Was something what moving all over the horizon for almost 2 hours and communicating per observation of each person. And if the people were scared or they've developed any kind of fear or something like that, they stop communicate. And if it got cold and we really need to go inside the cars, which we walk out from the land, they just stop and they do not communicate it at all. I mean, there is certain rules for the communication as well. And satellite, if you have technical ability and expertise, how the satellite move and how the speed compared to the horizon of the satellite, and the movement was nothing what we can compare, what we know, what we observe. And actually, one of those guys who are the present working on Brno airport, he's manager there, and I don't want to disclose his name, but he knows and he got expertise about the planes and things like that, what can flying, what can moving, and what is possible and what not. And there was not only one or two observation, but a few more follow.
Now, there have been other UFO sightings that have been just as large in Czech Republic. There was one in Radkov, in Vranov, and this is going back to 1976. More recently, there would have been I believe it's pronounced Klinovic. I probably pronounced that wrong. I apologize. Back in 2009. So there is a history of big sightings there.
I need to tell very important things. Czech Republic, after the World War II, that this economic situation, political situation changed, and various military interests were there, and the country became pull various directions, and various companies and various groups and various states were involved in various locations, developing planes, developing satellites, developing various technology, and the technology sometimes appear as unknown flying object to the citizen who do not have experience to that exposure. Therefore, it's important to analyze this data and this information by the people who know, who can explain what the things it is. And if it's happened outdoor, there are also technology which can monitor and trace this kind of object or this kind of movement. And even if the object moving under the detection of the now no technologies, there are certain trade in the environment. I mean, the trees, the electricity via the water, the land may have radiation, burning, any kind of things can occur there. And from the radiation, from the change, molecular change, the genetic change of the living animals, creatures, plants, can be traced information continuously by the scientists. That is the part which scientists follow. Yeah. I mean, those kind of reports are important. It's important, lots of citizen scientists to observe, monitor, collect data, but the data need to be analyzed by, knowledgeable people who are able to divide it. What is radiation? What is fire? What is chemical burns? And all these kind of things, and then slowly, find the seeds of the knowledge, the wisdom, and then continue follow up.
Do they know who picked up the craft, where it went, where the object was taken?
If there any object went down on any territories in the European territory or Czech or Slovakia or something like that, there are various emergency military response and air response. They clean the environment, and mostly they're looking for debris from planes, for small planes, for debris from balloons. And if there is something unknown technology or unknown things, they need to be analyzed with a suit to protect people from the radiation and exposure to the radiation. And if there's something what need to be analyzed, the items need to be bring to the lab, and also find out what the things it is, and if it's technically possible to analyze. And also the people who are exposed to this, even though they may have specific suit and items which they're wearing, mask and gloves and protective equipment, if that will be out of space items, those people will not survive to exposure to them, because the high level of radiation and high level of burn to be exposed to it, person will not be able to survive to collect themselves without of specific suit and technology. And even specifically keep it in a container and making sure that it's safe and decontaminated environment. It's not easy how that sounds. It's very difficult, very complicated, and exposure to this object even in a safe distance, which people try to assume that it's safe distance, keep radiation burn, and the radiation burn show up after 2-3 weeks of exposure, starting with like blisters, deep blister. The skin can peel off, and if they are closer to the things, they still can get such deep the burn that the skin, the flesh, the muscles, the tissue, and the bones, it's impacted, and they don't survive. The disclosure after, if you explore too close to the object, after 4-6 hours, there's no chance. We don't have technology for them to keep them safe, protect them. Then mean that if something this happen, there will not be person to survive real, closure. If you're in a space module, and if you go outside from the space module, you have certain times to be exposed to the radiation, and you are there not in a time that the sun is very hot, because this high heat, even the space suit protect you, there is limit for that. And if you that prolonged time, the first layer, it's cotton, keep you safe. Then you have tube which cooling you, the water, and there are special material, and this is the reason why the space suit is heavy. But if something goes wrong, it's very hot, something broke down, and you cannot go close, to the transfer, you die. You even in a space, you cannot do that. The mean, if you on the planet and you will be trying to be exposed to kind of object like that, like 20-30 meters, you cannot make it, you will be dead. Yeah, no, there will be no testimony, things like that. Yes.
So when an object like this goes down, did this make the news? Was it all over reports, or was this kind of kept quiet, except the witnesses were, bringing it out as social media kind of took off?
First, those kind of articles are mostly about movie stars, about things what women wear, men's wear, and things happening. Various report about something fell somewhere. People assume that it's plane, that assume that it's a small Cessna or some kind of drone or something like that. To analyze things that is not identifying object is mostly 0.5% that might be people thinking about that. Mostly they believe that was some kind of plane, drone, and things like that. Yeah.
Was there a lot of drones in that area that could be misconstrued as UFOs?
Oh, I cannot analyze that, because I do not have those expertise, because there are various schools and various centers, and young people, cell scientists, they're trying various drones themselves, because young mind, smart mind, they're trying everything what is possible, what can fly, and then it's hard to analyze what exactly it's flying, and people are sometimes scared of some kind of new small drones, unknown drones, because technology goes ahead, and it's fear what hold people back, and people, or if it's possible, should be educated that this is something what it's new technology and some kind of new drone, and things occur, and the possibility that something is up there. It's about why people should interested that something is up there. The interest is behind few people who might have hobby or writing or storytelling and like fantasy, and and the fantasy help them to build the bridges to the unknown. And regular folks, they are happy. They go home from work and they relax and put like on the table, open a beer and enjoy movie and things like that.
So when this crash allegedly happened, as we got about 5 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the top of the hour, where did it land? What did people see happen?
It depends from which location people were looking, and if they like stay on countryside, they may just see like yellow line or clouds or just something flying over. Some people assuming that maybe plane went down. Some people stars, but usually European people like drink and enjoy beer and wine. The mean they put this kind of picture, connect to the picture. You have probably two beer and you see everything flying. Even the spoon in our kitchen can fly and be an unidentified object. I mean, it's depend where the people are, which location they are observing, and also what kind of stage of minds they are, and if the minds is clear or if they enjoy the time and have fun with friends and little beer and glass, and you can see so many things flying then as well.
How many witnesses do you think there were to this event?
I think that could be around like 20, 25 people, but might be even more. But people don't like to share this kind of observation because, if you says, oh, I saw something different or weird, they think you are weird first yourself. Second, you lose friends because why looking on this kind of things, I'm thinking that way because, they think that you are weird already. And professionally, with the work and academia, you are out of picture. Scientist. I mean, it's better to stay silent and just smiling politely.
We got about 3 minutes to go here before we got to go to break. That area where this happened, is it heavily populated?
Well, the European country is a small country, and mostly cities are populated. Like there are couple of millions people, but they are small country size, and in a city people stay mostly indoor and observe from balcony, and the lights and plane, everything is going over the head. It's very difficult to analyze what exactly it's flying. But the people who are on a countryside and in a small uh, location, like small group, the experimental group, then may see something, but again they can influence each other if they are in some kind of family group, friends group, because what you see, I see, and we see, and then it's hard to observe and analyze and collect data from this kind of observation.
Is it so that the province or territory of Moravia, is that more of like a farmer's area? Is it more of a rural area where people
Well,
maybe commute to work?
yeah, Moravia is beautiful country. Wine, lots of wine and wineries. It's one side. Another side there are hills and countryside, and it depends where are you in that setting. If you close to the winery, you can see flying even grapes, and people can have wonderful stories about so many things to be seen on the sky around the vine area. But if you're in an area where there are hills and tree, you can hear and observe and see, stars, satellites, and things what may fly because the skies it's clear and your mind is clear as well.
And the people there, like, how, I guess looking at it online, there's about 3 million people that live in the region, where this crash took place. was it daytime, nighttime it happened?
I am not sure if that was crash or if anything fell from the skies, but people believe they see something what went down, and maybe that was meteor or something like that. Yeah, it was mostly night hour where the sky is supposed to be clear and the visibility good. But depend the weather, because then the clouds show up and can worse observation.
All right, I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we are going to go to break at the top of the hour. Simona Tahiliani is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio. UFOs over Czechia. When we return, I guess what? This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Simona, I'm just going to put you in the green room, and I will be right back. Going to take a quick break, okay?
Thank you.
Be right back, everybody. All right. Stu F. and Gerson, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Let's next say hello to Whoopoo. Nice to have you here. Blue Cruise, thanks for coming on in. Hillbilly Herb, thanks for joining us. I think we are caught up there. We got a few questions coming in. Let's bring Simona back. Well, when she is here, she will turn her camera back on. Thank you tonight to Major Lee, Lavira ×2, Lenda, Richard, and Deanna Ann for the great super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you very, very much. And don't forget, you could shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out and have some fun. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in, where you get all the weird and strange to feed you through the night. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gallianthropy. Gallianthropy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Joining us from Czechia is Simona Tahiliani, hanging out with us. We are talking everything about a great potential UFO incident back in 1991, and that is called Moravia. So we're going to continue this conversation. Thank you for joining us, Simona. We really appreciate you getting up early over there, because you're 11 hours different than us, for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So before we get to some audience questions, in your research that you did on this, what is your overall thoughts of this potential UFO/satellite incident?
Well, I was not present. I do not observe that, and it's important to believe and have, trust in the government and in the technology and the people. And also, if people have this kind of interest, it's important to be, citizen scientist or dedicated volunteer and looking for the data, thinking critically, and helping prepare yourself for potential disclosure, or your family or your friends or your country. And the education is actually the key, because if you in the future will be explored to unknown, to avoid the fear-based reactions such like heart palpitation, high blood pressure, difficulty breathing, metabolic shift, or fainting on the place. Everything is possible. It's important to be physically, emotionally aligned with the situation, that you became in the right moment, in the right place. And then the story or the event or the communication will unfold so naturally. And I would like to share just very shortly testimony of girl, actually lady, which she was prepared for the observation and how actually she felt. It's also in the Simeta, it's one of those testimony. And I will share this. Hannah said, I enjoy attending and witnessing such manifestation of unknown object. I learn many good thoughts from books and my own experience, but other thoughts about our world are not yet written. Our Czech proverb said, we do not undervalue the importance of education and observation. We embrace the unknown and learn from it. This was Hannah. But what she says about the observation, I have become accustomed to sporting performance and various competitions, and I have performed in front of the public, and I am trained to remain calm. I trust Simeta and was profoundly attaching to unknown, unidentified flying object. Our observation has not lessened my sense of safety. I did not have any feelings to run away, no force paralyzed me or hurt me. I enjoyed the observation and the most beautiful sensation of the heat in my hands, chest, and whole body. That experience changed me and brought me peace of mind. I believe we have our observation between 11 p.m. and till 2 a.m. We gather with others of different age groups, women and men with different education background. We all strictly follow instructions, what to eat and what to wear. I was unfamiliar of that experience and I enjoy observing. I was unafraid, and I was experience, what she observing on communicating this unknown flying object. And after a few years, my daughter is teenager, and I would like to tell her about my observation experience. I will cherish the possibility that we are not alone in the universe. The meal, it's about education. The mean, every most people on this planet believe there is something up there. This is wonderful, but it's not good for this kind of study or research to have a fear, to be worried, and most of the fear and worry go from the movies. And this kind of monster alien eating people flesh and things like that. If when I saw one movie, I was like losing interest to even do disclosure. But yes, people need to be educated. People need to learn. If they want to learn, be citizen scientists, and there is a wonderful opportunity to be citizen scientist, be volunteer for the Soul Foundation. You can be member, it's non-profit organization, it's globally connect with scientists. You can be in any level and communicate, learn, developing your skill. And if you are in this kind of field of research, go for it. It's sky is not limit. Go for it. Yes.
Do people look at this like a piece of history?
I think so, and probably forgotten. My story occurred 20 years ago, and my history what left. It's my book, my story, and I have letters from president, and I have actually book, which I got from Mr. Sostiahit's Confession of the Alien Hunter. And to Simone, one of my favorite sentinel being, very best wishes. There are lots of scientists up there who found the truth, and many more wonderful people are researching. But it's things what you wish to be and do occur and happen, and if you are prepared, you may be exposed to it. But the other things, if the things what is up there is willing and want to be exposed to you, that is the other kind of things which may be or may not. And then before I put this kind of chapter to my storytelling book. For me, it's story. And as from the book Communication with Extraterrestrial by Doc Wacko, which is a wonderful man, Meti researcher, a common assumption of intention. If what is something prohibited, if it's not prohibited, is allow it. I mean, if in your country you can do this research and you can follow anything and collecting data and learn about that, and you are really in researching for unknown flying object, there is no limit for that. And there are lots of scientists which are in that field. Wonderful. No scientist for everyone was Frank Drake. Best wishes to Simona. Wonderful man. Drake theory, life is up there, and people hold, people believe, people follow. But we need to also thinking and educate about the society. Are the society ready for the disclosure? Are the society, the mind of society are open, and if the society really can survive disclosure? There are so many things, and before the responsibility are on the government and on the political establishment of those individual countries, what people will know and learn and be able to connect. And when I wrote Simeta, I put all the material together, sent to the United States Library of Congress, and it's there with map and materials for researchers. If you want to research and study and learn from that how to make the disclosure, it's everything is possible. If I saw that, I believe everyone can. And the letters from actually president of the Velvet Revolution, Václav Havel, it's in a book. It's copied there, which actually proved the story. That is true.
I was actually just about to ask you about disclosure because, you know, for many of us, we feel that it would be a life-altering event for many people here on this planet because there are very few incidents that would affect every single person on Earth. And I'm just wondering, you know, in the push for disclosure and truth to what is really being hidden, and are we alone in this universe or not, how do you think the public would react to finding out that we aren't alone?
That is very difficult situation because what is the public? It's a society in one country. It's a globalist society. You know, there is various religions presumptions what people are, what people are supposed to do, and what probably certain group people cannot do. And the disclosure, it's not possible occur globally at this time because there are society who are on a level of not development. You know, it's not developed properly the way that can be ready for the disclosure. There are people, some scholars, some scientists, they may be open to it, but it's not publicly. It's like not everybody can speak English.
Let's get to some audience questions here. Let's start off with Lenda, who is asking, where are the most concentrated areas of UFOs in Czechia?
The most concentrated area, I assume, I can't read through the map, is around the Bohemia and Moravia in the countryside. And it's wonderful go there to the winter time where the observation is actually the best and the possibility for the disclosure is the highest. The sky is clear and it's cold. I mean, be prepared for that. And for the observation, if you arrive on the place, you cannot have any metal on your body, no flashlight, and also do not drink any drink which can speed metabolism, heartbeat, and also if anyone take from your group medicine for heart, high blood pressure, the person should not be part of the observation if you go, you know, on the countryside, because the other things. Certain minerals are in the level under the ground, which they are actually influence the body to prepare the body as a transformer for the things, you know, to will occur faster and better in the winter times.
All right, let's go to another question from our audience. Let's go to Mel. Going back to the incident in Moravia, who picked up the craft or whatever had crashed?
That's it. Like, you know, we have the emergency response teams. So like you have, you know, fire department. They observe the environment if it's safe, it's there not contamination, and if it's something larger, things what need to be pick up with different group of personnel, professional personnel, they will pick up that. But a firefighter usually firefighter and police are in the first lines of observers who go to the location if something's happened. I mean, if it's an accident, you know, observe everything first. It's safe for the people. I mean, if they are not exposed to the radiation, spill, there is no electricity, fire or something, and gas in the air, if it's safe, the first responder usually check it up, and then the police secure the environment, the locations, and if there is like plane, if there is anything what is known, then usually the fire department contact the captain, and the captain called specific groups who are responsible for cleanups.
All right, let's go to another one. Let's go to Kim. Is there particularly an active part of Moravia or Czechia that just seems to have a lot more UFO activity than others?
Yes, they are, and I will recommend to open the website and observe the map, because the map change, and then I'll analyze the data and just drawing and find out which the location that year was very active and where are reports from that some kind of unknown observation was. Also analyze the reports. The mean if the report says that was plane, that was drone, or that was something yes. Flying object which is not identified, then just looking around it a little bit. Yeah. But data, collected the data, analyze the data for yourself from every year might be different. And which year is the most active, analyze the day, hour, and season. Looking for what the season times. Yeah. An hour. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another one. Let's go over to Queen Peachy. Do you have any personal collections that you have kept over the years with your experience with metal objects?
I do not have metal object because no, I don't have metal objects. I do not have nothing what will be radioactive at home at all, because I don't want to expose my family and loved ones. In the sense, if the disclosure occur, I do not want to expose people as close to things at a time that will get harm them, because you don't want to harm people, because anything what fell go to the atmosphere, it's radioactive and you can get serious harms. And like personal collection, I keep my letters, I keep my book, I keep testimonies from the people, how they're feeling, and that I'm cherish. Yeah, and maps, and the things what we saw and how they're feeling. And actually this is the best things what keep me going to be Goodwill Ambassador for others, help others. Thank you so much for the question.
Let's go over to Mel. What time of year was this alleged crash?
Well, that's what time of the year is depend what the public see, and it's depend when the information will enter to the database, and that is important to go. I will not share exactly the month, because it's different things where people call and collect and sharing information, and then data enter it. The best thing is visiting the location, ask the native people, and collect the data for yourself to figure out from the research which you do as a citizen scientist, to find out the month what exactly people see, because it's some people may says June, some people may says no, it was July, some people may says no, that was in the winter time, and then you got lots of various information which are not truthfully possible follow. I mean, you need to do or follow the steps like researchers to ask, go there, figure out for yourself, and then do decision for yourself, because it's always easy to go there and ask and figure out for yourself, and you got the proper picture, then read from various data which were collected late and enter late. And also even the data can be changed. I mean, the data could be collected maybe 3 months ahead of the event, and then enter it again later, 3 months. I mean, the ratio of the, it's very large.
T-Bone wants to know, how much and what did the former Soviet Union hold back, in your opinion?
Oh, I have respect to the people globally. Whenever you are around planet. I do have respect to the human being. That is the first. The second, I have respect to all the researchers and the scientists who are working on any research project, because if they speak, they can risk life in many places and many countries. And if they share the skills and knowledge, they put to harm themselves and the family. With due respect to those scientists and researchers to protect them, it's better to not share the information.
Of course not. They don't want to share the information. They got to keep the secrets. Let's go to Mevire here. What is the most common shape of unidentified craft seen in the Czech Republic?
Again, there are various data. There is a database and there are lots of research private groups. And mostly, if they drawing, they see disc or cylinder or star or shape, long oval shape. But many of those observers do not have skills and expertise in aerodynamics and astronautic, objects or planes or crafts or new technologies. Again, if it's important to read the data, observe, you can join for yourself, and then using physics and using critical thinking and figure out which location, what kind of object occur or show up regularly, and then maybe visit the place and again have opportunity to talk to the native people. And the best time is before the suns go down, because many people enjoy and socialize. And then if they are under various influence, delicious drinks, then can speak well, but the various stories are stories.
I think we had time for one more here. Let's go over to Lee. Says, good morning, Simona, because he's in the United Kingdom. Are you familiar with the 1987 Yalava incident?
Yes, good morning to the beautiful and nice United Kingdom. I have actually mapped. I have been traveling across United Kingdom. I have wonderful friends, Charles Clocker, scientists. Greetings to the Edinburgh University. He teach extraterrestrial classes. And I went in United Kingdom for 6 months to observe the territories, to find out the location for the observer, the possible. And you have actually fun there. You have lots of opportunities, and the minerals and the environment. It's swimming for very interesting activities there. And incident of 1986, I was quietly not affiliate, and I have not been personally communicate with that, but following 89, 90, and 92 with other scientists.
So how do you like answering these UFO questions? Are you enjoying it?
It's fun. Well, thank you so much. I am very thrilled. It's really people are very smart. It's good. Critical thinking is very important. Open-minded. It's mean change the future, and these people we need because they questioning. It is questioning the situation and actually help also various citizen scientists to continuously grow in the field and looking for the data, for the information which they help them grow up. And it's fantastic that people are curious.
All right. Simona Tahiliani, we have her till the top of the hour on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear. It's a lot of fun so far. A lot of fun. Gizmo wants to know, what's the secret to a good borscht soup?
Oh, good borscht soup. Well, I think the best things is have the good ingredients, and the good ingredients it's how is the red you know I don't know the English word for that. It's not radish. It's the bigger things than radish. Yeah, it's a vegetable. It's the main vegetable, the big red vegetable. If somebody can help me out, it's a red vegetable, and if you peel it, your hands get red, very red. And you can grind it. You put on a butter, and it's with little onion and little brownish. And you can put chicken bouillon if you like, or the vegetable bouillon, and now boiling, and that good ingredients, spices. You can add little bit spices, and if you like meat, or if you like pork or chicken, you can put it in a bowl soup. And on the end, people add like heavy cream, or keep it the bowl soup like heavy. But I don't eat too much bowl soup. But it's good. It's good. It's nice in the winter time. Yeah, I spice it up. It's good. Everyone like food.
It's all in the spices. That's for
Yes.
sure. That's all in the spices. I love it. All right. Jacques, how are you? Nice to see you. Philip Blair, thank you for joining us. All right, I think we're caught up. We have about 3 minutes here. Yeah, this has been very interesting tonight. Thank you for helping me out with being a guest.
Yeah. I'm sharing the board soup, it's a bee. Yeah, now I'm feeling my hands got red. See,
Mm-hmm.
that is to analyze that, and the rest is the little bit carrots, potatoes, cabbage, garlic, and chop it little tomatoes. And I usually using chicken broth, yeah. And on the end, I put little apple cider vinegar, yeah, and little sugar. It's
I'll
good.
put that I'm going to put that in the chat room. Hold on. Let's see here. Hopefully it'll do it all at once. I think that did it. Yeah, there we go. Hi, Sierra. All right, we have about a minute and a half. All right. Thank you tonight to Lavira ×4, Major Lee, Deanna, Richard, Lenda for the great super chats. I appreciate the love and support, everybody. And we're coming back in about 20 seconds. Put your questions in capital letters. We'd love to get them to Simona here. Final half hour. Here we go. Here we go with the final half hour with Simona Tahiliani. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. We have Simona till the top of the hour, but first we want to say hello to everyone tuning us in all around the world and remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Simona is here once again from Czechia, the Czech Republic, talking about UFOs, disclosure, and so much more. We've had a great time with you tonight, Simona. Tell everybody where they can find your book.
Oh, my book? Okay. If anyone are interested, you can open Amazon link and it's Simeta. You can find me. You put my name, Simona M. Tahiliani as author, and you will see all my books which they are there. The first book, which is the Simeta, is the storytelling about the UFO. Then is Mevire, meditation, visualization, relaxation, is the book which I use through the time working with non-profit organization to help people, but also the technique which I use for the disclosure. Then there is Freepe, and the Freepe, it's mostly about law and regulation, this human being. I mean, a good, it's about human rights, and there are stories, inspirations, and Africa, that continent. And if I can put together, it's actually the pillar for the disclosure. The mean have knowledge, your mind need to change. This is the maybe visualization and meditation technique. And when your mind change, you need to know is the freedom, peace, and education. The mean you need to change your knowledge and understanding of society. The mean they are the two pillars, and they are both between, which are like supporting both, but over there the umbrella is the Simeta, just that, to me, Simeta is the main book if you want to read the story, and you can find out that thing is possible, and if inspire you, I'm so happy. That was my purpose, to share with others our story, and you can have fun with it. And I think so if you go to your own library and ask them, they can order the book, and you can have a book for your friends in a library to share with. Yeah, but it's on Amazon. you can get it on Amazon.
We have a few more questions from our audience. Start off with Lavira. Are the craft often seen breaking water?
Well, I will be very careful with the water, because if you observe the unknown object near the water, you need to be very careful, not with only the observation, but also get close to the object. And even the object is very careful around the water, because the water is not only the surface, but is very, very powerful medium that can connect. You can be actually part of this, some kind of, I don't know, electromagnetic radiation is around, and another radiation, which your body became like part, connect, could be influenced, and could carry and communicate, and also put yourself to the trouble, because various like waves of the electrolyte, because your body is like 60%, the cells, the body may not handle it. The water, if you observe the object close to the water, and the cell, the electrolytes imbalance, the temperature regulation, the sweating, the vital organ gets shut down. And especially, if you don't drink and you have no proper balance of sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, all these important mineral, can developing electrical interference between you and the object. To mean your heart can start a bit faster, you can develop muscle spasms, you can develop sweating, you can have facial spasms, and if the object is close or around the water, I will not even try to be and communicate with it because it's not healthy for you. But on the land, it's more safe.
Andromedan would like to know, have you heard of any amazing time travel stories in Czechia?
There are lots of storytellers, there are wonderful writers, and there are great stories about time travel, about movement of the object in the time. And if you can travel, take summer break, if you're in a school or if you're a retiree, go to Europe, go to visit wonderful libraries, go visit pubs where people can share stories, and you will learn and you will enjoy it and you will get inspired. Yeah, there are lots of stories about travel through the time and many fascinating activities through this time travel. Yeah.
When you look at everything that's going on in the UFO world right now, what do you see as a benefit to what we are seeing around the world? Do you think it's the technology? Do you think it's the increase on the way it's going to change science?
I think every viewpoints is welcome. People can share story. It's fantastic. It's the communication channel is open. It's like diplomacy. As long the channel of communication is open, you can develop skills, knowledge, understanding. You are involved in activity. Your mind is involving. You interact and you educate yourself and empower yourself to educate others. And then you go with people who have the similar hobbies and you guys communicate together and you build some kind of pipeline or kind of system or kind of startup or anything what is missing, you go for it and building, you writing, you can collect all the information, and this actually push the society a little bit up and developing the mind, opening the mind, and probably putting the time and constellation that align together and make change future for us all, hopefully for us all in a good way.
I love it. I
Yes,
love it. Do you think then, or what do you think, if this technology comes out, UFOs are real, they're here, they're visiting us, we have the craft, what do you think will be the most important piece of technology that they could announce?
Well, I think this is very interesting take because that is very important things what people need to think about. We live in a world which can change any minute. The technology and the society are evolving, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a negative way. The citizen scientists are people who are working hard. They do not need investment. They do not waiting for grants. They do not waiting for awards. They go and do what they believe is right to do. They have great value on the minds and hearts, and they have vision and they put themselves mission. Technology around the world sometimes relies on the investment and on the value of the investment, how much it brings to the society, and if it's valuable. And certain research cannot generate as much money. The mean is not invest in, need volunteer and need people just with simple interest, and they can grow up. And if the technology is continuously in the hands of one person or very, I don't want to be rude, but says greedy people who won't just manipulate for the income and interest of their own, then we are not in a good trajectory. We are on a shadow. But if the technology belongs to everyone, if everyone is able to put little bit outside and share skills and knowledge and understanding with the good things, it's good things can happen. And this point, I want to remind very important things that, where I was, it's in my chapter with James. James, he also testified for the Congress about the UFO. And, I'm sharing the students group, we were talking about it, and he said that, if you are a scientist or researcher responsible and you got skills and knowledge, you are responsible what's happened to the people, what's happened to the community, or how can the community be impacted, and not only your community, but the community around the world. And that was the project Manhattan, where Albert Einstein, he helping developing the atomic bomb. And then, his faith was that the atomic energy will bring heat, will, support people and bring good things to this planet. And where they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and, he was, the time of the Roosevelt, and, his heart was pumping. He was climbing to the Berkeley clock and sitting there and writing his stories, that it's very that you are scientists to think about, if you have the skills, ability and technology to help world, do so, but you need to take the consequences if something's go wrong.
I love it. You're absolutely amazing tonight. You are amazing tonight. All right.
Thank you. I need to say thank you all those researchers and scientists who I have the opportunity met. And it's also, I need to think it is not anymore with us, but is a wonderful researcher and scientist, and like me, share is in my book Simeta, and I need to thank you so much, Professor Jean Howder. And from his poetry, let me just share. The fact I thought so logical to the others seems truly absurd. So all the duck in the birth bath, my quack was the last to be heard. I will let you with the poetry. It's beautiful. And if any one of you writing, do so. Inspire others.
Mevire has another question for you. Simona, what is your thoughts on who these beings are? Do you think they're related to humans?
If that are related genetically, that might be genetically mapped or something which can connect to the human beings, and the genetically code might be shared upon various individuals, and those individuals might be able to develop the ability for the disclosure because they have the closest net or key or the other gatekeeper, if you want me to tell. Yeah, some of those people around the world globally, they have in gen special trait which give them the advantage, I don't want to say privilege, but the advantage to develop the disclosure faster, early in the lifetime, where other people can do that so, but they need to working hard.
Okay. Let's see what else we have here for you. Do you think with these beings, there's many people who believe, many scientists who believe that they are us from the future? Have you thought about this at all?
I live in the present moment. I learned from history, and history helping me to be wise and do wise step in the future. And the future is mystery, and I like mysteries. I like writing, and I like to be inspired by all those people who are up there, because we are member of one human species. We are a big family. And if people can share stories, it's wonderful. If we change our future, it is wonderful. If we can keep the future for everyone, that we can live in the planet for another 100 years at least, perfect. And if we can reach in our lifetime those our space friends and be able to communicate with them and learn about them and share their knowledge and understanding with us, that will be good. I hope so, but this is only my hope. The rest is also on the humanitarian society, how we're developing in continuously in another 5 years.
Do you think we'll ever be given the answers, the true answers of whether or not governments around the world actually have a collection of ET species?
At this point of time, I don't believe that people or the citizen scientists need a government. Government's responsibility is to protect the citizens and use the technology, ability, and force to keep their territories and people and communities safe. Keep safe water, land, and space. People should not rely on the government. People should rely on citizen scientists. They should educate, connect, and you have a wonderful platform, Zoom platform, on you platform, wonderful space show, radio show, welcome many quests. And the debate and discussion, involvement, interaction is education. And the education will help reveal the truth, the techniques for the disclosure, the ability how to do that, when and with whom. The government do not and do technically will not be involved at this at all, because the prediction of the government is that they need to secure the borders, they secure citizens, they secure space, various countries and territories. They have lots of work, but citizen scientists, they do not have any limit on the research, on the data collection. Anytime, any hours, anywhere, they can do that.
It is a serious subject, though.
It is, and it's a fun one.
Oh, it's a very fun one. But do you think, though, that with, not to throw religion into the subject or anything like that, but do you think, though, that with the amount of religious people in this world, that they would be accepting of life from elsewhere?
I was reading story from one cardinal, and he wrote that people were created on this planet and others. In religion studies, people accept divine, and they accept that if life was created on this planet, was created outside as well. But that is one or two form of religions. Various beliefs and cultural predictions and social societies norms may interact with gender role as well as the communication role in that society for the disclosure. They mean that various society may have difficulties in developing the skills, the involvement, and education for their citizens, their communities, in a fear to protect their ability to control the mass, to control the society, and control the interest of the various people or groups.
We have 5 minutes to go with our guest tonight. Simona Tahiliani is here, and we are having a good time learning all about her studies of UFOs of the Czech Republic. Earlier on, you mentioned about Russian troops. T-Bone wants to know, the Russian troops being turned to stone? Is that what you said?
Wow, that is a very nice starting of the storytelling. And I believe so. If somebody writing this kind of nice story, I would like to read it. Maybe, maybe not. It's possible that in stories everything can occur. I do not putting limit on people's imagination and visualization, because sometimes people wish can occur things that won't do or protect something or someone, and we are humanitarian and peacemaker and peace builders, and we do not want to turn human hearts in a stone, and we do not want to turn any human beings in a stone. And unfortunately, it's the government and it's the politics and it's the diplomacy take the responsibility for the unhappiness, the lack of freedom, the lack of speech, the lack of opportunity. And if anyone up there want to learn about the human rights, you are welcome. I am member of big community of human rights consultant, and you can even be director for your location. Is United States Institute of Democracy and Human Rights. You can learn about human rights and you can educate your community to turn the heart of stone in a beating one.
Do you think then that we'll ever get truth about what is truly going on?
To uncover itself like the oil. You know, you can pull the water inside the glass, and if there is the drop of the truth as the oil, you stay up there. And as much water you pull inside the glass, the oil will soon show up. Soon or later, the oil reaches the place to be seen, and the light and color change under the sun.
Okay. So that begs the question of whether or not this whole topic is worthy of the research and the knowledge that we need to improve it.
We need to first improve human mind to be open, and research the topic is valuable. But it's valuable only those people whose mind is open. If the mind is not open, then the research is not valuable those who cannot accept and see behind it. How we said from the beginning, if the mind is not changing, then cannot grow and cannot develop and bring change and the truth to the society.
We got about 90 seconds left with you tonight, and this has been absolutely fun and amazing. And the fact that we get a chance to get another worldview and understanding of this subject is great, because normally we're so focused on what's happening in the United States, we forget that there is so much more to this subject going on around the planet as well. In your dream UFO narrative, do you think these are dangerous? Do you think we should use caution?
I do not dream about UFO because that will not keep me healthy. Not. I do not dream. I dream about the beautiful lakes and I dream about the nice blue sky and clean water. And I dream about the happy and smiling children and people around the world. No war, no violence, and that people respect each other and help each other and take care of each other and have ability and empathy and kindness in the heart. That is the best dream which I can have. Beautiful, blooming planet with nice tree and clean water.
Sounds like Canada.
Wow, thank you. Lots of Canadians must be now happy. Yeah, beautiful country.
Simona,
With
I want to
great
say
people.
thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio. It really was a pleasure talking to you the last couple of hours, and we really do appreciate it. Coming up next on the Mighty SOR, we'll have Swamp Dweller. Then extra small Lee Strauss is in the hot seat for the Q&A. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Simona, thank you so much, my friend.
Welcome. You're welcome,
It's been a
Scott.
pleasure.
It was nice to meet you.
You go enjoy your day. Well, it's lunchtime there now. So you go enjoy your lunch.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love her. All right, guys, I'll be right back. All right. Let's bring on extra small. There he is. The man, the myth, and the legend all rolled into one. What's happening?
Something like that.
Whoopoo, we are not putting the toilet paper apocalypse back on the world just yet.
Mm-mm. That's for next season.
Mm-hmm. All right. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Dave.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's say 2 weeks ago, I got to go out to the Olympic Peninsula and do a little Sasquatching. I want to make sure I say it right.
Hold on right there, buddy. Hold on. Thank you, Lavira ×5, Major Lee, Deanna, Richard, and Linda for the great super chats. We love the support. Thank you very much. And thank you to all our new subscribers who rang that bell and hit subscribe. We appreciate it. That's how we grow. And here comes hour number 3. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. And what do we got here? We have Gallianthropy. Gallianthropy is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. So, some backstory. My grandparents live in an antebellum mansion in Alabama. We would travel there on a rather regular basis whenever my dad had vacation time or I was at a school. From time to time, my father and grandfather would head down to the back roads or just various places and just go for fun car rides. It was interesting and relaxing, and we just talked all kinds of random stuff while exploring these very rural areas. A couple of times we would go to the old Cahaba to wander around the abandoned city. In any case, on one such ride, I remember we had turned down this one back road and were coming up on the railroad. I loved and still do love trains, so naturally, I was hoping we would see one. As we approached the crossing, there was no train. The car bumped across the grade and started down the other side, when I noticed something on the left side of the car. Looking out, I saw something that I can only describe to this day as some sort of demon. Across the tracks and back in the weeds, there was an old wooden train station. The station looked to have seen better days, being severely run down and dilapidated. At the far end of the platform, there was a tall wooden water tower, and just in front of it sat an old wooden boxcar. I remember talking about that with my parents and everyone in the car, but apparently I was the only person that saw it. I even drew what I saw when we got home, but no one else remembered seeing anything of the sort. Years later, after my grandparents sold the old mansion and moved to Florida, I found myself taking a vacation in the old area. I wanted to see the old mansion again. It had become a bed and breakfast at this point, and to explore my old stomping grounds. I spent several days just going around and recording various places for my parents, as well as doing some personal ghost investigating. I did everything I could to track down the station, took a near infinite number of back roads, and not once could I find it. I even headed to Selma to check out the city's records, but even then I couldn't find any such evidence of this station. This place stood out in my mind. Even now it stands out. I know what I saw. I know that there was some sort of demon crouched in those reeds outside of that station with red glowing eyes. I know there was something there. This, as well as a few other details I've not listed here, puts the existence of that station somewhere between 1865 and the early 1900s. I don't know. I definitely know I saw it, and maybe it's one of those things that travels through some sort of dimension. One thing I was able to see is that there was a train station demolished 30 years prior to me even being there. And what I don't understand is, how would I be able to see the ghost of some sort of building? Is that even a thing?
Thank you to Swamp Dweller for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, guess what? You can hear thousands of stories just like that for free. Go to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, and they're all right there. You just grab them, listen to them, and enjoy them, because that's what we do. Let's go to the Q&A. We got extra small Lee Strauss in the house. Look at that. I'm trying to rhyme here, and I blow it right off the bat, man.
I do it all the time.
So inquiring minds want to know, Lee, because on our YouTube channel last week, you missed a show, and I told the audience that you were on a big date. Did we have a love connection or what?
Oh, yeah. That's something totally separate than the weekend prior. But both times I went out to the peninsula. I'm not very far away from the Olympic Peninsula, Dave. And out there is where things really go bump in the night, let me tell you.
Well, we'll get to that here momentarily, but it's always good to have you on this show. We should tell our audience right now, just so people understand, they're used to hearing Jackie Harmon at this time of the night, but you've been on the last few weeks. Jackie has taken a hiatus from the radio side of things. She's got some personal issues that she has to deal with health-wise with her children right now, and she just needs some time away to regather everything and figure out what she's going to be doing. So we always wish Jackie love and hope her well and her family well, because when it comes to health issues, you can never be too sure, and we always want to make sure. So Lee, thank you so much for kind of taking over this portion of the show, so that way we could keep it up and running, and yeah, just send Jackie the love. It's all good. I mean, she's not dying or anything like that. Let's just be realistic. She's not dying, but we want to make sure that we give her time and space to get everything reorganized and reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She definitely needs the time to get her things, in order and whatnot, and what she's dealing with and what she's got going on. So absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway.
I don't know if you saw this or not. Okay. But the United States government announced that they have a new 6th generation fighter called the F-47 Ghost Eagle. Now, this is very interesting because we got to talk about this a little bit, my friend, because I love military aviation.
I do too.
If I have a hidden love of anything, it is jet fighters, anything to do with the military. And ever since I was a kid, I went to my first air show in my hometown. It was one of the biggest in the world. And I went to my first air show when I was 3 years old, and I fell in love right there. And that's when you actually had a good mix of aircraft, because you still had all the aircraft that were, in service during the Vietnam War. You still, Canada had theirs, the United States had theirs, And it was always so interesting to see so many different aircraft. It wasn't just, the typical aircraft that we saw today. I mean, man, you could list off the names from the F4 to the F100 to the F104, F105, F106, never mind the B-2 bomber, which was, of course, the big buff that everybody called it back then. And now you have kind of like these, they're really cool, like the F-35, the F-22. You still have F-16s, F-18s, F-15s, the
Yeah.
A-10 Thunderbolt, but all of a sudden, we're getting into now the 6th generation of stealth fighter. And
Yep.
this is where things get interesting.
Dave, I was glued to this report about this plane. In fact, I was going to talk about it on our show tonight, as well as some other things, but unfortunately we couldn't have the show. Tim James was coming with most of the information from some other stuff we were going to talk about, but it was definitely on my radar to talk about, because this darn thing has been out for 5 years. Come to find out. Huh?
That we know of.
That is correct. That we know of. That was let loose today by our president, and a bunch of other facts about this plane that I thought was absolutely freaking incredible. The fact that it can actually go into space, which I was like, what do we got going on right now? It's going into space. And it's been out for 5 years. So yeah, that's of great interest. Not only that, there was some capabilities that were talked about that this thing has, possibly cloaking ability in some fashion, as well as the ability, Dave, to let loose swarms of drones. What happened?
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? What happened months ago, back east?
Well, it's funny that they didn't release any pictures of this craft showing the entire craft. They only showed images of the cockpit to the mid fuselage. That was it. Now, one of my sources said to me yesterday that this aircraft has probably been in service for 10 plus years. And we have to go back not that far in history, but this is something, since stealth fighters started coming out, that the U.S. government has had a history of doing. The conventional fighters of the F-18, the F-15, the F-16, they were brought in as replacements to the other aircraft. I mean, these aircraft, we have to remember, they're coming on, some of them 50 years old. And yet they are still top of the line jet fighters and modern. That's 50 years. Okay. I believe the first F-16 started flying around 1973, 74, 75. That's when they were starting testing on those. And then eventually in the 80s, that's when they, got the order to, make a couple thousand of them.
Right.
F-15s are the same way. So we're looking at, modern technology from 40 years ago. And we got kids flying these aircraft now.
Did I drop out or did you? Maybe Dave's frozen. Well, my show was postponed actually till next week because Tim James was going to come with a bunch of the information that we weren't able to show. And not only that, there was a power outage in up in Canada, which might be going on right now as we speak. Dave, they were working on the power. So, yep, somewhere in time, Dave got zapped. Absolutely, he did. Well, isn't that funny? Anyway, so we were talking about the stealth jet fighter. Since Dave's not here, I'll just kind of, touch on some things that I know about the jet. And they were saying that it's able to let loose swarms of drones. And they said as many drones as you want. Well, what does that mean, right? Welcome to the show. Absolutely. So anyway, my thought is, if that's the case, if it can, go ahead and like shoot, 20, 30, 40 drones out, what were we seeing back, on the other side of the US, back there in around DC, months ago, we were seeing all of these drone swarms everywhere. Not only that, but in California too, in Southern California, there was a lot of those drone swarms. So what the heck was that thing that they were seeing, how it worked, how, if it could be detected by, other groups, other surveillance, capabilities that we don't know about. And those drones, were they coming from that plane? I wonder what was going on there. Anyway, drone mothership, right? All of that stuff. Exactly. Now, if this thing is able to deploy from the ground and get up into space and fly around out there, can it have, the capability of launching the drones into space? Is that possible? Well, I have no idea, but that's interesting. Definitely interesting. And what other capabilities does it have, right? Drone wars. Yeah, so think about that for a second. Like, are we seeing the first mass use of drones in a war? Could we see it in a wartime situation? That's another thought. It is. And what comes next? Those dogs too, could we see that in a situation if there was something horrible like a war? We definitely could. Definitely. But you know what? Dave is probably gone for the night if they're still dealing with the power issue up there. What had happened was there was a truck on the road and it went off the road and hit a power pole, and the power pole came down, unfortunately. We don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard if the guy driving the truck is hurt or what happened, but that's most likely because they're working on the power. That's why Dave is off right now. So we will continue on as long as we can here. So I was telling you guys too, I was telling Dave, trying to tell him about out there on the peninsula, out near Sequim, Washington. A guy named Toby Johnson and I met up with him, and he should be able to call in, but I don't know that he can. We'll see if he can through his phone connect to StreamYard, but it's possible. But I don't know that he has the capability unless I send him the link. Anyway, so I was talking about Toby. We went out there to do some Sasquatching, and he was telling me a story. Near Sequim, Washington, there was a bartender out there, and the bartender said, the heck with this, everybody's coming into the bar. They're telling me stories about Bigfoot and seeing, Bigfoot in the hills over, yonder, not too far away from where he's working. He's like, screw it. I've heard it too many times. I'm going to go see for myself because I need to know what the heck's going on. Because he didn't believe. He just didn't believe it. So he goes out there on this old logging road, And he's driving along, and all of a sudden he sees something that's crouching down next to the road. Like, what the heck is that? So he's getting closer, and he realizes it's a younger type Sasquatch, what appears to be a younger type Sasquatch that is bent over a deer carcass, and pulling out the guts from the deer carcass. And as he's getting closer to it, the Sasquatch grabs the deer and hauls it off down into a ravine. So the guy stops, and he's looking around to see, what's left, maybe a couple footprints or whatever. He's like, holy cow. So now he believes they really do exist. And so after work for the next months, he's out there looking around, and he doesn't see anything else. But now he's telling people at the bar and all of this. And he goes out there regularly now and searching around to actually capture Bigfoot on a camera, on a decent camera. Well, one night after work, and this probably happened, I guess it was a year later, as the story goes, and he's driving down this very same road in the very same location, and he sees something off in the distance, just outside of his headlights from his vehicle, and it's kind of waving back and forth. And he's like, what the heck? And he realizes that he's getting closer and closer. There's a deer head on a stick, and a Sasquatch is waving. That's Dave, waving this deer head above its head. And it freaks the guy out so bad after he sees it. He's like, heck, no way, man. I am never going back out there ever again. Let's see what Dave has to say. Yep, there it is. Lost power. It's back up, waiting for modem to kick in. So he's on his way. No problem. So anyway, he's just sitting there waving. It's waving this stick with this deer head on the top of it. And he's like, no way I'm ever going back out there again. It freaked him out so bad. But the story was conveyed, right? And the BFR, he put the report on the BFRO. Well, they actually came out there, like Bobo and them. They actually went out to this area, and they were looking around and couldn't find anything, but they went down over the ravine, and down by the river, there was all the bones from a dead deer. So they're thinking, oh my gosh, this must have happened. Yep. You got it. 4 hours away from Vancouver. So whatever happened really happened in this general area. And so Toby and I thought it'd be a good idea to head out there and kind of poke around and look around and see what we could come up with. Well, we got there. It was kind of raining, misty, and that. Anyway, we get our hammocks all set up and blah, blah, blah. And come to find out, guys, I did not pack my rain tarp for my hammock. So not only would, if I woke up, would be possibly looking at something staring down at me, but I had no rain tarp. And I was like kind of freaked out by that, not having some kind of a shield so that I couldn't see something at night. So I just stayed by the fire all night long and stoked the fire till like 4 a.m. And then once Toby got up, I hit the road and came back home. But it was kind of creepy out there. There was a couple things that we saw that were kind of interesting, and I'll tell you about one of them. We were hiking at night up this ravine, and then we took like a right-hand turn and started going up the mountain. And we're about, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile from the river. You can hear the river down below. And there's all of a sudden, there's just this river rock, no moss on it, stuck on an old stump. Just, why the heck? We were following like a deer trail is what we thought. And there's this rock stuck up on this stump. It's like perfectly perched. And we're like, well, that's not right. This isn't a trail that people go on, we could tell, and it was just obviously done on purpose. So that was of interest. And then we kept going along, and there was like this maple tree off to the one side and a bunch of like fir trees, and there was a branch that was sticking out horizontally. Well, it had perfectly either had caught or something had placed this maple leaf directly on that stuck out branch, like pierced it perfectly, and it was just sitting there against a tree. And Toby's like, this is strange, this is odd, this couldn't have happened any other way. And I thought, well, maybe if the leaf had fallen, but it should have bounced off that, it shouldn't have pierced it like that. Well, you never know, right? So he took note of it. Anyway, we did like an hour recording, or actually longer than that. It was quite long. It was throughout the day, but he made an hour recording. He cut everything down, and there's Dave. And so we took that, and he made a really cool video of it, and it's posted on his site right now. And if I could remember what it's called, which I probably can pretty quickly, you guys can watch it in your spare time, which I think would be interesting for you all. And that's called Flash of Beauty.
All right, here we go.
Strange Days. There we go. So there you are. And welcome back, Dave.
Hey, thanks for having me tonight, everybody. Appreciate that. Sorry about that. All of a sudden the power went out here, and it was like boom, gone. It was weird. Totally weird. Hold on, let's get that tightened. There we go. Yeah. And then it took forever for my modem to get back up going. So weird. We've had a couple of accidents. I mean, are on the highway tonight. So I don't know what the hell happened there, but it was a flashpoint, that's for sure. So where were we? You
were talking about the jet.
Yeah, we were talking about jets. So now that I can refocus and just put this as part of my day that's happened today. This jet, this new F-47 is probably around 5 to 10 plus years old. And what I was saying right before we got cut off is this craft is I'm just going to, 1 second here. I'm just going to close this off here so that way we don't get interrupted here. So we'll just take it to the top of the hour. The military has in its 5th generation of craft, or 4th generation. Well, I think it was, what was F-15? Is it a 3rd or 4th generation fighter? Let's go 4th generation fighter. 1 second here. Yeah, so the F-14, or the F-15, F-16, F-18 would be considered 4th generation. F-22 and F-35 would be considered 5th generation. So this F-47 now is considered 6th generation aircraft. Here's the thing, though. If you go back to the 1980s, okay, in 1989, the F-117 stealth fighter was seen for the first time. And who caught the first ever civilian photo of that? Jim Goodall. Okay, just happened to be driving through Tonopah in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas, and saw this strange craft. And he got a picture of it. So that was quite interesting. Okay, but that aircraft had been in service for 8 years at that point. 8 years. Then the B-2 all of a sudden showed up. And that was in service a little while before they built 20 of the 100 that they were supposed to build. at $2 billion apiece. Then all of a sudden, we have in the last year to 2 years, we've seen the introduction of the B-21, which is like almost a carbon copy of the B-2 in shape. And now we see the F-47. So if this aircraft, this F-47 has been flying for 5+ years, as Donald Trump said, let's say it's 10. How far ahead is the next secret fighter? This is where it gets interesting, boys and girls, because the F-117, I want you to hear me out here for a second, Lee. If you don't know, the F-117 stealth fighter was retired by the United States Air Force in 2008, right before Chinese Democracy by Guns N' Roses came out. I'm sure there's a correlation somewhere. Okay.
Could be.
Now, if the aircraft is retired, why is it still flying out of Tonopah Air Force Base? You can go watch the F-117s fly. So I talked to a source about this. Okay. I talked to a source about this because I had always wondered why. And my thinking of it, my source said, happened to be partially correct. Okay. And what the question I said was, the only way I could see these flying still is people know them. People know them. They know the shape. They know everything. And then he added to it. He's like, Dave, you're forgetting something important here. These pilots that fly these test aircraft or whatever we have at night, in order to keep their pilot's license, they still need daytime flying hours. So here's the thing. For most pilots, when they are put into a cockpit, that is the bird they fly for their entire career. My assumption of it all, and I have zero proof on this, and this is where my source said I could be right, it could be wrong, is that with the F-117s, people already know the airframe, but they don't know the cockpit. So my assumption on this is that they changed the cockpit, reconfigured it to be more like the craft they are flying at night. That way they could get their daytime hours in without giving up what they are flying at night. And then when the real missions start, there they are flying the craft that we know nothing about. Which could also, if they were testing this out at places like Area 51, would also mean that these craft are probably a lot of UFO sightings. And like you said, Lee, if this thing can go into space, or, so space, I believe, kicks in at 70,000 feet, 75,000 feet.
Yeah, I don't have the correct or the exact number.
It's somewhere around there, 85,000 feet. Okay. These guys these men and women would have to be literally trained for almost astronaut type of training as well. So the question is, how many of these aircraft are there? And if they're now going to go into mass production on these, because the F-15s and F-16s are getting into that almost 50-year-old mark, that's where you got to make a change. And let's also remember that Michael Schratt talks about this. Under George W. Bush Jr., the Navy canceled and lost $5 billion on a replacement wing type aircraft that was supposed to replace the F-18. And if you look at Michael Schratt's research on this, it's incredible. It was the $5 billion gift to the Defense Corporation for canceling this contract. So I find it completely interesting. I think this thing's been around for a while, and that's what we're seeing.
I think we're seeing it deploy its drones as well, like in New Jersey and so forth.
That's a powerful radio answer right there, Lee.
Yeah, that's what makes sense, right? I mean, they're out there, deploying it over, cities and that sort of thing, just to see, what kind of reaction all that's going to get. Not only that, they're probably testing it against, the all of the different, let's say, like the airport and that sort of thing. If they're able to pick up on it, and with their I can't even think of the word. Darn it. It's not sonar.
Just for clarification, you don't put a cockpit on a drone, people. It is a manned aircraft that could deploy drones. It could drop and deploy drones. It is a cockpit manned aircraft.
But it probably can, it can fly without that as well, I would think, both ways.
Oh, I'm sure it could. I'm sure
it's
going to have a very, very sophisticated flight system that literally is, it's not the old fly-by-wire, let's say that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So who knows? I mean, I can't wait to find out more about this thing for sure, and what its capabilities are. Of course, everything will never be disclosed fully, but
yeah, no kidding. Oh man, my one computer. Let me just shut this down.
How do we even know, what speeds this thing may be able to fly at? We have no idea.
We have no idea.
Mm-mm.
We have no idea.
What kind of engines does it have?
Yeah. Well, they haven't even shown us the back end of it.
No, it's probably a plasma of some sort. It might be.
It might be even hypersonic. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I had, a lot of people in our chat rooms, especially, kind of give the gears to Random Guy when he comes on, but I'm going to give him props on this one for a second. Okay, because of what he knows. Okay. And one of the things that, we got into a talk, because he's a big aircraft buff as well. And one of the things that we talked about all these types of aircraft that are out there, and he said something that was very interesting to me. He goes, Dave, we have been flying stealth aircraft since the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
The Blackbird and U-2 were both stealth aircraft. We just didn't know of the term stealth back then. Then they perfected it even more with the F-117 and the B-2 bomber. The B-1 bomber even had stealth capabilities. The F-15 Strike Eagles also had stealth capabilities. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing we need to remember. Russia and China are on their first generation of stealth aircraft right now. I believe it's the Su-57, and I'm not sure what China's version is called. Okay, but you look at the F-22 Raptor right now. on anybody's radar system, that is coming up about the size of a bee. A freaking bee, a honeybee. Maybe it's a bumblebee. I don't know what size bee it is, but it's a bee. The F-35 is closely the same. Okay. These are just in the craft that we know. Okay. The aircraft that we know. Now, if we got into trouble here, let's say shit hit the fan. We're not on the radio, so I could say that. Okay. But let's say shit hit the fan and we go to war. Do you really think that the United States military, outside of the missiles, okay, outside of the hypersonic nuclear missiles that China and Russia both have that are pointed in this direction, do we really think that equipment to equipment that the United States military is going to lose any air battle? Sure, they may lose an aircraft or 10, but that's a battle that Russia and China combined cannot win. Cannot win. Especially with their first generation craft, when the U.S. would already be on their third generation that we know of stealth aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
So what technology from 1960 to 1981, when the F-117 came out, what technology has changed from 1981 to 2025? That's 44 years. Is it 44 years? Yeah, 44 years. Oh my God. That's lots, man. What do you got?
Well, I'm thinking the radar systems as well have to change, right? So as soon as we come up with a new type of plane, they're going to have to tweak their radar systems to be able to detect it better as well. And how much time is that going to take? They have to see the darn thing first before they can start tweaking anything.
Well, what would be interesting is, does this new jet have anti-gravitics? Does it have hypersonic speed? Most likely, most jet fighters fly outside of the A-10.
Mm-hmm.
They fly between Mach 1.3 and Mach 2.5. That's their top speeds.
So thinking about missions, right? And if you're going to send this plane off to a certain type of mission, let's say, and you need to get there super fast and it needs to be super maneuverable, maybe you don't put a pilot in it because that mission calls for a certain type of maneuverability or that sort of thing.
Maybe. I mean, don't forget, though, the scary part about it, it's built by Boeing. Yeah, you got to be careful when it says Boeing made. Remember when Boeing used to be the king?
Yeah.
Ever since they left Seattle, they've gone to hell in a handbasket.
Well, even the planes that are made here in Seattle right now, you have to wonder about and worry about.
Man, I don't get it.
We've got a spot right down here, down the hill from me in Kent, Washington, that's called the Hole, and everything that goes on down there is top secret. Boeing does.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Does not surprise me. What else are we going to talk about here? We got like 10 minutes. The whole power outage thing. The whole power outage thing just screwed me right up.
Yeah. Well, it screwed me up too when you left. I'm like, oh. So I started talking about what's that?
Huh?
Oh, I started talking about what happened with Toby and I over there on on the Olympics there, out just outside Squim, Washington.
Squim?
Squim,
That's a great name.
isn't it?
I bet you there's a lot of good beards in that town.
Oh, there is a lot of good trailers too.
You cannot have a town called Squim without some major beard game going on. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of jacked up Ram 1500 and 3500.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I didn't get to see any of those personally or close up when I was there, but I'm sure they're around.
The newest car in a place like Squim is a 2001 Cutlass.
Yeah. It's actually a great town. It's right in the rain shadow of the Olympics, right? So it sees less rain than the majority of the rest of the peninsula out there. In fact, what's really cool, Dave, is when you drive out there, if you ever go out there, you're going to notice that for some reason it looks a little bit like Eastern Washington, a little bit drier.
Is that towards Mount Adams?
No, it's towards it's on the peninsula, like on the Olympic Peninsula. So
is that Sequim or Squim?
Squim.
How's that spelled?
SQUIRM. No, it's SQUIM. Hold on. Now I'm going to be looking here.
Well, I'm looking for it.
Here,
Squim, Washington. There's Sequim.
SEQUIM. It's pronounced Squim. No, it's pronounced Squim.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How many Indian names do we have? Native American names. I mean, just about every darn town out here in Washington is.
Right along the Dungeness River, eh?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yeah, up there in the mountains, there's quite a bit of activity going on. And we went to go check out a location where this bartender says that he saw some pretty frightening things. We didn't see anything personally that night, but the story is pretty darn cool.
What's the story?
Well, this bartender was tired of hearing about all this activity that's going around. He didn't believe in Sasquatch or any of that, but he was driving up this old logging road and got to an area where he saw this mass, this like animal or whatever it was, right on the side of the road. So he gets closer and closer, and it's like a younger Sasquatch disemboweling a deer.
Oh my.
And he's like, holy cow, and apparently the Sasquatch, when he got a little bit closer, grabbed the deer and headed off down the ravine with it. But this guy was hooked instantly. When he saw that, he was like, holy crap, they do exist. And so for months and months after that, he kept going back up to this location. And he noticed, like, months later when he went back up in there, in the similar location, not very far away from where he saw this, young Sasquatch, he saw something moving just beyond his headlights, and it was waving back and forth, pretty tall. And as he's getting closer, he realizes it's an adult Sasquatch with a deer head on a stick. And he's waving the deer head above the Sasquatch, is above his head like this, with the stick and the deer head on it, like it's on a pike almost. And he's waving it, and that freaked him it freaked him out so bad. He said, no more. I'm never going back up there again. So yeah,
That
that's the story.
is freaky.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
And
cow.
so he fills out a report on the BFRO, and apparently Bobo and a bunch of other people went up into this location, and they didn't find footprints or any of that, but they found a deer carcass down in the river below where this would happen or this had happened. Like just the bones of a deer. I think if I saw something like that, I don't know that I'd go back out there. And in fact, that's one reason.
I'm not too intimidated by deer bones because they're kind of everywhere around here.
Well, I'm talking about if I saw a Sasquatch waving a deer head on a stick.
See, my first inclination on that, dude, is that it's not Sasquatch. That seems more like Skinwalker Wendigo type thing to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, I stayed up all night, Dave. I forgot my tarp for my hammock, and there was no way I was going to lay down and wake up to something. So I stayed up all night next to the fire, keeping the fire going till like 4 a.m. when we left.
That's creepy.
No way I closed my eyes.
Yeah, you want to camp at my spot.
Yeah. Yep.
That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm down, that's for sure, even if I have to stay up all night with it next to a fire.
Yeah. It's crazy talk right there. Crazy.
Yeah.
Talk.
I have no idea what box to put that in. Yeah.
Why would it wave the head? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but it scared this guy so darn bad that he'd never go back out.
Did he give you the area where it happened?
We went to that general area, but I'm not able to pinpoint it.
Yeah.
I was told not to.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Oh.
But like I said, you know, if I had seen something like that, there's no way I'd be going back out there. But from the experiences I have had, they're more intriguing. You know, that seems to be a little frightening, you know, almost like you got to stay away. You can't be here. You need to go away. You can't be coming back here every night looking for us. You know, we know you're doing that. And
that's where you have to, and don't take this the wrong way. Okay. But that's where you got to get rid of the science and go with the emotion of the creature. Okay. By going there and just doing everything the same. So that way they get used to your routine and realize that you're not a threat.
Yeah. And I think that's why this creature was doing that is to scare him away, because he would come back repeatedly over and over and over again.
But he wasn't there for the creature.
He went back there because of what he had seen the young Sasquatch do, and he wanted to get more footage. He wanted to get footage, period.
Right. No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, like, and I'm not saying my way is right or perfect. Okay, it's not my way or the highway. Everybody has their own ways of doing things. But if you can, you know, this is where the woo crosses over into the science that isn't taken as seriously. But in talking to a few others like Thomas Seawood, who's a very science guy, but understands the woo of it. You know, last time I had him on, and he asked me what I do, and I was telling him, he's like, Dave, you're the first guy I know who does that. He goes, that's the way it needs to be done. Right. And so I figured, okay, I'm doing something right here. Let's just, because that kind of fell into my lap with just, why chase them? Let them come to you.
Yeah.
But if this guy's, you know, going hard every weekend into that same area where they're traveling, and he's not paying respect or lighting tobacco or, you know, just parking and just allowing them to get used to him, his vehicle, and everything along those lines, then I could see that reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And that seems like they have a good sense of who people are and what kind of people that they're dealing with or what kind of people we are. So maybe they just didn't want him in the area anymore.
Could be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes it interesting. And that's the thing that I've learned is, like, even in my two areas, the clans are so different. Like in area 1, they are very curious
Mm-hmm.
that, you know when they're around. You know, we got to bring Big Rob G out there to be some bait for us. Right? With some
Yep.
Sasquatch love going on there. You know, but no, I mean, they're very curious and they let us know when they're around. And we know
Yep.
because we hear the thud thud.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we know.
Yep.
That being said, the other clan, they tolerate. And when you start pissing them off, they make sure that they want you to go.
Yeah.
And they let you know. They're not going to be vocalizing. They're not going to be roaring or whatever. But you're going to hear them pacing.
Yeah.
And getting closer. You won't see them. But that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had nothing all night long, though. Absolutely zero. But, you know, that's a given, I suppose, if you're a new person in a new area.
Yeah. Seriously, Lee, if I could give you any advice on that, because, you know, try that out. Just try going there, bring some tobacco. Rob says, hell no, Davey. Bring some tobacco as a peace offering. Okay. And just talk to them just like you're talking to me. Just say, hey, you know, not here to piss you off, not here to upset you. Just come to say hello. And then just sit in a lawn chair and wait for them.
Yep.
For them. And if you do that a number of times, and it only takes it like a few times, like 3-4 times, they'll know who you are. They're that smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I believe it, you know, and sometimes, you know, things happen the first time you're there in a location as well. So you just never know what you're going to get into.
Mm-hmm. Very true. All right, guys, we're going to call it the night right now. We're not going to do any exit music. Well, at least from the show part, because, well, the show was kind of killed. So now I get the pleasure of having to cut up a previous show to send to our radio stations. Oh, how nice. Yeah, it's always fun. Always fun. You know? Tobacco, not Tabasco.
They don't like that.
No, don't bring it on to us. Tobacco. But, Lee, thank you.
I thank you, sir.
And hopefully next week will go a little bit smoother and there's no accidents on the highway. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Sweet Robbie G, I'm going to give you a call here in a couple of minutes. But we will see you. Well, I'll see you on Monday. And I don't have my schedule brought up, but I'll see you Monday. Sweet Robbie G is here tomorrow and Sunday. And Lee, you have a great weekend. And we will chat with you guys very, very soon, everybody. Thank you for the love tonight. From Mevire x5, Deanna, Richard, Linda, and Major Lee. See you, everybody.
healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.